do it and then have you guys be scared, stuff like that. So last class, we talked about introducing services action, and we're going to continue that today just so that we get a good start. Next class, actually, the other thing is make sure you continue doing your readings. Remember, you read the chapters, you write the summary for each chapter, those things, and that's going to be what you get your grade on. So I will give you time in class to do readings, but for this semester, your notes and those readings is where you're going to get most of your grade for Bible. So take time this week. Our chapters are 7, 8, and 9. Last week was 4, 5, and 6. It takes you about, I don't know, 10 minutes to read a chapter and to write a little summary on it. So stay up on that. Don't forget about it, because I think I'll be accepting those notes next week. I think in Manage Back, that's what it says. So just stay on it, because the due date's coming for only what we've been reading up to, not the whole thing yet. But just keep that in mind. The next thing is our service is action. So please go to Manage Back, go to your Bible class, open up the, I gotta find it here. Open up the Manage Back task. I got to get to your class so go to Manage Back grade 6 or grade 10 Bible, click on the calendar. When you're there, go all the way to December 6th, and there should be a task called essay forms and videos. When you're there, I'm going to show it to you. When you're there, click on that task, because that's where you'll get all the documents for the things that we're talking about today. So you can see it on my screen right here, essay forms and videos, due December 6th. I know it's a long ways away, but it is important because it's a IB requirement, okay? Very, very important. What you will see, and I'll talk you guys through this, but the video it's kind of like the personal project where you have to do it for the IB. So I have a video where I walk you through how you set it up in Manage Back if you forget, but we will do it in like 2 minutes here when I've finished talking about everything. But if you need to know how to set up Manage Back, here's a video. Manage Back changed a little bit, so it might not be exactly how you see it in the video, but look for the same names and things like that. I'll try to make another one as soon as the school gives me access. But all the documents that you need for essay can be found attached to it. So there's one on intro lesson. That's the PowerPoint from the video and the lesson we did last class. If you didn't get to watch it, or if you have questions, go to my YouTube channel or to Teams, and in there you can find everything that we talked about last class when we introduced it, what's required of you. But if you need to know anything from there, it's also just the PowerPoint is right here for you. The next thing, and probably the most important thing, is your entire, actually, no, wait. We'll do forms and documents later, but later on, you will need to go to your year group. I think it's called IB Manager, okay? You'll see this, right? For grade 10, you'll have your personal project, your calendar, your files, those kinds of things. Click on your essay. You can do this later once you have a topic. I'm just kind of showing you. You got to go to your IB Manager, then click on whoever you are. So we'll take Emily as an example. Sorry. This is her service action. So it keeps track of everything you have done in the past. Okay. You can see that she's done awareness and initiative. Now there's 7 outcomes like we learned last class. For this year, make sure you've done all 7. So whichever ones you haven't done yet, Emily, click on those ones. Even though you only have 1 for grade 10 that's required of you, that's for people who have been doing it from grade 6 to grade 10. They'll only have 1 more left, but the IB needs to see that you've done all 7. So make sure you click all 7. You really use them all. You're just, not required to. So this is what you've done. I can go in and I can check. Now, it's just like the personal project, okay? The personal project, you do everything, with a teacher here who's your supervisor, but the grade doesn't come from your supervisor. We just give you advice on how to do it well. The service action is an IB requirement, so they check to make sure you have done all these things. So what you'll do is you'll go to add an SA activity. Every year you add another one, okay? In this activity, you give it your name. Our thing is global context. So you would type in, I'm going to focus on water quality in third world countries, right? How out of school, because nobody's in school right now. Your start date is today, and your end date is December 6th. If there's a teacher like Ibu Kasuma, who's all about environmental science, or Mr. Adrian, who's teaching you about how to pump water out of wells, those kinds of things, put their name in, their teacher or whoever, supervisor email. You don't have to put their phone number in. Description of your goal. What do you want to do? Write it all in there. Who do you want to help? And then these are your 7 requirements. So obviously we're doing global value, but in the document, you'll see later on the PowerPoint, you'll see the 7 things, and we have a description with them at SBI Central. So we've taken awareness and we've made a description to go with it. Perseverance, collaboration. So just find the one that fits with the one word. Obviously, if you haven't done them all yet, click on the ones you haven't done. And then if there's an organization that you're partnering with or you're using resources from, those kinds of things, include those here. If there isn't one, then just put SPH in, and then your activity aim. What at the end of it, what do you want? And then after you finish that, you would hit the save button or add it, and then you'll be able to upload your journals, any documents that you have filled in. That is, that's what's required of you from that video that I made that'll walk you through it. Very simple, and I can help you anytime you need that. I'm also going to share with you, this is actually just for the Bible teachers, for them on Teams, but I don't really care. I'll show you guys. I'll show you it anyways. So these are the documents. So the first thing that you should know is you are going to have to do a form. Okay. Now, I have been very kind to you. In the past, the forms were 7 or 8 pages of just questions you have to answer before you do it. It's much shorter. It's the new form, similar to the ones you did last year, if you remember. But after you have an idea of what you're going to do, you have a plan, it's been approved, you'll start filling in your first step 1 form. That's research and making sure that you're doing something that people actually need help with. Okay, so planning and preparing, there's prompts here. After that's been approved, I'll be like, yep, you filled it in, you're ready to go. Then you go to taking action. And what does that look like? Who's your adult supervisor? What challenges will you encounter? How are you going to collect evidence? I'll talk about that in a second. And then you do need to take a journal entry. So after you've worked on it, just kind of like your personal project, write down what you did that day, what things you learned, those kinds of things, how it went, what you would do differently, and then your reflection questions. This is a rubric. You will never see this. This is only to keep the IB happy. You don't need to worry about it. And then the next thing is our final product. So you'll see in there, how are you going to document that you did it? Just like last year, our service action final demonstration day, which is required by the IB to have something where we promote what we did. You are going to create a 5 to 10 minute documentary of what you did. So take us through the process through video and pictures and voiceovers, whatever you did. Show us through your video how you came to coming up with the idea that you want to do, what you learned in the process, who you talked to, maybe record parts of conversations or pictures of people you talked to about how you're going to help this global community. And then talk about, oh, our method for serving, this is how we're going to do it, this is our plan, and then show us do it yourself doing it through pictures and videos. And then obviously you're writing reflection questions, so then take some of those and you read those reflections into your video, what you learned. If you're in a group, which some of you might be, but I think this year it's going to be less because of home-based learning. It's hard to work in groups virtually. do that, and then include your bi-weekly journals with it. So at the end of it all, you're going to have a form finished, that document we just saw, and you're going to have a 5 to 10 minute video documentary of what you did. And that's going to be what you show for the demonstration day. And then like we did last year, and then the form is what you're going to submit to manage back for the IB. Oh, all that said, there's a question or two about what is your scope for this year. Remember, you can go to these, right? All these documents you have access to. This is the PowerPoint from last class. If you missed it, or if you forgot what you're supposed to be focusing on. This is ours for this year, right? We're doing international related issues. And then the goal, the focus for you is you have to develop international mindedness through global engagement. That's your goal for grade 10. You need to have that one for sure in there for this year. But like I said earlier, if this is your first year, you need to click all 7. Okay, if this is your second year and you did 2 or 3 last year, click on the ones you haven't done. Okay, because you need to have all 7 finished by the time you're done grade 10. And that doesn't change how much work is required of you. It's just you're doing all of these in all 7. It's just when you write your reflections and things, you need to touch on how you became more aware of your own strengths and how did you work well with others. The important thing is with your services action, you have to have people involved. There has to be people you're working with to help, people that you're working with to learn about how to help these people. So there's always going to be people you're involved with. The other class had a whole bunch of ideas, but it didn't help people, right? So services action, we focus on people. There'll be lots of other things, clubs where you can do the other things. I'll leave this up, but today I would really like for all of you guys to send me a message about what type of service you want to do. So direct, indirect, research, or advocacy, like I said, it's all in here. And then what issue, international, global issue do you want to focus on? How you think you're going to do it and what it's going to look like, either direct or indirect or research or advocacy. A lot of times with home-based learning, we focus on advocacy because it's easier to do from our computer, right? So it's okay, like this is your thing. But for today, please have sent me your plan, what you think you're going to do. I'll try to approve it and then get started on your form, getting your first form finished. So you have to download that from the task and manage back. Like I said, guys, I know it's another thing you have to do for class and that, but I just can't stress it enough. Like, this is a requirement to go to the next grade, just like personal project is, service action is as well. And I don't want to make it something that you feel like, oh, I don't like helping other people, or I'm only doing this to get to the next grade. But I want to make it something you're passionate about, but I also want to stress, like, we have time in our class in Bible for this so that it's not extra stress for you outside of the classroom. So possible ideas, things like that we talked about in our other class, grade 10.1 today was international related issues, water shortage, not enough drinking water in many places around the world, things like governments oppressing their people. There's places in China where Muslims, Christians, others are in concentration camps by the Chinese government, where they are systematically taking people out of their lives. Some die, some are worked to death, some are in camps their entire life. It's like similar to what was happening in Germany during World War II. The same is happening in North Korea. Governments oppressing their own people and not trying to hide it. Other things like humanitarian crisis, things like what's happening in around the world with the human trafficking. There's more people enslaved today than ever before in history, and it's all done underground and nobody sees it. There's a lot of things like food shortages, droughts, what's going on, how do you help these global issues, spread of preventable diseases who people don't have access to the medicine needed to stop them. I think about our project in grade 7, where we went to help the life expectancy in certain places, those kinds of things. How do we help those people? It's got to be something that isn't just an issue in Indonesia, but around the world. It can be international crimes, right? What are global issues that involve people that you can help with? Governments forcing abortions on ladies. The Taliban killing people because of what they've done in the past, right? There's things like that are global issues. What can we do here to help? And so might be education systems around the world, illiteracy, like people can't read or write. What are issues around the world? How are you going to help? And make your plan, send it to me privately in the Teams chat, please, so that we don't lose it at the end of our meeting. If you have questions, I'm here to help. I'm going to stop the recording though, because that's all I wanted to say for that.